Welcome to Countdown to Game Day, covered by State Farm. We start with a beautiful highlight here. Unless you're Georgie Bichonishvili, who was wide open under the net, decides he's going to go for it, and he gets stuffed by the rim. Big week for Michigan State, not a big week for Georgie. And that is how we get things rolling. Countdown to Game Day. I'm Jason Fitz. She's Christine Williamson. We are back together. I missed you last week, my friend.
I mean, it was sad that I wasn't here, but, you know, I'm back, so we're good.
Well, the Dream Team's back together, and what we're going to do for the next 30 minutes is get you all set for Game Day, which obviously, if you're new to hanging out with us, you can authenticate. You can hang out here in the app or wherever you're watching all day long to get all of the college basketball action that we'll get throughout the course of the day. Got a bunch of games. We'll show you here some of what is coming up throughout the course of the day with some of the games on slate for ESPN. A little bit of SEC love here. Tennessee, number 25 at this point, taking on Auburn. You can catch that one at noon. Also, a big one in the Big Ten. Number 5, Illinois, mentioned earlier that they lost to Michigan State. They're taking on Wisconsin at 2 Eastern on ESPN. Another big one. And then tonight, always love looking at this. Baylor, number 2, Kansas, number 17. Christine, a little Big 12 love for you.
Baylor almost took an L earlier this week, so that would be a good one. I mean, I think the Big 12 has been going head-to-head if you in all of their matchups, and they have a lot of ranked teams, so it's been good to watch.
Yeah.
A lot of close games. And also, Illinois and Wisconsin will be a good one. Wisconsin obviously lost to Illinois earlier this month, so we'll see if they're able to get some revenge.
I was just trying to get some Big 12 talk in right out of the gate.
I like that you gave me that, though.
You know what?
That was good.
That's teamwork to make the dream work. Speaking of teamwork, let's get a little teamwork now by bringing in one of our favorite experts. All right, we need to be coached up, so we're going to bring in Coach to help us. Seth Greenberg joins us. You watch him every single weekend on Game Day. Well, he's coming in a little early for some Countdown to Game Day fun. And, Coach, we're going to ask you to play a game with us, as always. We like to call it Make the Case For. So we'll throw out some scenarios. You make the case for it. Are you ready for this? You feel good about it?
I think I can handle this. I'm not sure, but I think I can handle this.
Well, we're going to start with the Blue Bloods because that's what we love talking about. So we're going to make the case for some of these Blue Blood programs to get into the NCAA Tournament. And we'll start with Duke. Everybody's got their eye on Coach K and Duke. Make the case. You think they're headed in?
I love Duke. Duke's playing the best basketball they've played all season long. And why have they been playing that way? Because Mark Williams gives them a front court guy that can actually score on the block. You don't have to run a play for him. Defensively, they've improved significantly. They've got 3 games coming up that I think they have opportunities to win. It starts with Louisville this weekend, a win against Louisville, another team that's fighting to get into the field. Then they have Georgia Tech, another bubble mate. You get those 2 wins and opens up the door to play against North Carolina. I think Duke does get into the field, and they'll be a dangerous team in the NCAA tournament because right now the pieces fit. They're defending with a greater purpose, but more importantly, you've got a great chemistry. And Matthew Hurt is playing himself not only to the first team All-ACC, but potentially the player of the year in the ACC.
All right, Coach, how about Michigan State? They're tied for 9th right now in the Big Ten, which is arguably the best basketball conference. Make a case for them.
Michigan State, another team playing their best basketball. They've won 3 in a row, and in those 3 games, the defense has really changed. Their ability to defend the 3, keep the ball in the lane, they're much more physical. I look at Michigan State, and they got a big game this week, and they got Maryland. But those 2 wins they had this past week, Illinois and Ohio State, you beat Maryland, all of a sudden say, wait a second, this is the Big Ten, the best league in all of college basketball. Then they've got Michigan twice. If you come win one of those, they're a lock without a doubt. But Aaron Henry has taken over, 19 points a game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists over the last 8 games, shooting 49% from the field, over almost 50% from the 3-point line. And at the end of games, the ball is in Aaron Henry's hands. He's a point guard. He's a power forward. I don't know what he is, but he is a difference maker. Michigan State will play in the dance. Tom Izzo, it's January, February, March, and Izzo.
Yeah, well, and look, I'm going to give Coach a little bit of credit on this. I asked him about Michigan State a couple of weeks ago, and he said, they'll get it figured out. Izzo's too good. You were right. All right, let's look at another one. North Carolina, another blue blood here. Make the case for North Carolina.
Yeah, a little hiccup the other day against Marquette, but I still think North Carolina, the young guards really concern me at some point. They got to take better care of the basketball. They got to be more consistent. But when you have a front court that can dominate the glass the way North Carolina's can dominate the glass, you're talking about rebounding almost 35% of your misses. You're talking about the ability to score in the paint. You're an NCAA tournament team. Now, Kerwin Walton, I think he's a key. When he's making shots, it opens up their high-low game. But they must take care of the basketball. I think Carolina will do that. They'll take better care of the basketball. They've got huge opportunities coming up in their schedule. And I look at this Carolina team, and I look at their size, their athletic ability, and they're starting to defend better. I think Carolina does make the tournament. And don't at me if you disagree with me.
Look at
We're
that.
just trying to make a hypothetical situation. You see, sometimes you say stuff, he said that. Yeah, I did say that, but we're trying to create a little fantasy land here. That's what we do in this studio, a little fantasy land.
I like that. Now, here's the remaining schedule for these Blue Bloods. I'll throw it up on the screen, but I want to ask you a question while this is up here, Coach. Brand bias, I know that's a phrase that a lot of people get a little triggered by, but if you're in the committee and you're looking at some of these coaches in schools that are Blue Bloods and you're seeing them play better now than they were earlier in the season, when you combine that with COVID, is there some element of the people in the committee from a human side that will give a little bit more benefit of the doubt to these programs?
Well, Bill Parcells said you are what your record says you are. Now, you got to remember, the people in that committee, they all have their own criteria for who makes the tournament and who doesn't make the tournament. I do think in the past, I used to say your final 10 games. In a COVID situation, I actually think that might make some sense because early in the season, there was some apprehension. You didn't have the gym time. You weren't able to work with your team the same way. You didn't have the opportunity to improve, especially these teams that were younger teams. So I think some committee members are going to look at the final 10 games and look at the team is, where is this team now? Could this team advance in the tournament? Who are their wins against compared to the people they're being compared to? Brand bias, I would hope they didn't. On the back of my mind, you got to remember now, I was on the bubble for 48 straight months. Unfortunately, for 48 straight months, I was on the wrong side of the bubble. And in the back of my mind, I always thought, now, if Duke had this resume, would have they gotten in? I'd never thought that Duke would be on the bubble. Now Duke's on the bubble. So Coach K finally understands what I felt like for 48 straight months. Man, bias. Look, we all have bias. We all have opinions. Here's the thing. You can have bias, but if they put these teams in the NCAA tournament for a financial reason, that would be really wrong. Saying, you know what, we need Duke, we need North Carolina, we need Michigan State. I don't think that would be the right thing to do. Put them in because they've earned it. Put them in because you can create a scenario where they've earned it. So, again, if you think the last 10 games are important, if you're looking at where this team is now, how they're playing right now, who they've beaten right now, that's fine. If you're putting them in because, you know what, CBS and Turner and whomever else, they want those matchups, they want those brand names, that's not the right reason to put them in.
I mean, things can't stay the same forever, so I like that it's a little different this season, even if it is maybe possibly because of COVID. Let's go to players.
I'm all for the new bloods.
Heck yeah.
New bloods instead of old bloods. Let's go to players specifically. Luka Garza came into this season as a favorite for Player of the Year, but make a case for someone other than Luka Garza to be Player of the Year this season.
Yeah, I think there are two players that have legitimate opportunities for Player of the Year besides Luka Garza. I think Corey Kispert, you're talking about a team that's undefeated. He's the best player on the best team in college basketball. Every time the dude shoots, I think it's going in. He rebounds his position. He's physically tough. He's extremely unselfish. The manner in which this Gonzaga team plays, because of the league they play in, they don't play the number of minutes, but his numbers are incredible. And then Ayo Dosunmu. I call him the Mariano Rivera of college basketball. At the end of the games, he takes over games. Think about Nebraska a couple of weeks ago. He was dominant. But there's Kispert. Kispert is so hard to play against. And there's Dosunmu. Dosunmu is so good at the end of games. His ability to get in the lane. Think about this. This is an Illinois team that scores 17 points a game in transition. Ayo Dosunmu, on his own, scores 7 points a game in transition. The guy obviously can get from foul line to foul line and finish. He's got a pull-up. Came back to college to show the NBA people he could shoot the three. Oh, by the way, he's shooting 40 from the three. Oh, by the way, it's over 20 points a game. Oh, by the way, 5 rebounds. Oh, by the way, 4 assists. But to me, it's his ability to finish and playing in the Big Ten. The level that he's playing at and the consistency that he's played at, it's been incredible.
All right, Coach, let's stick with great players, and let's go over to Paige Bueckers. We talked a lot about her this year. Obviously, she's dominating at UConn. Make the case. Is Paige Bueckers on pace to become the greatest UConn player of all time?
Woo, there have been some good UConn players for Gino Auriemma. But I talked to Gino this week, and he said that Paige Bueckers has done things that no other great UConn Husky has done. I'm talking about Sue Bird, Breanna Stewart, all the great ones that have ever put on that uniform. She's had 3 30-point games already as a freshman. And here's a girl that's extremely, extremely unselfish. But the thing that sets her apart to me is here's a freshman at UConn, at the end of the game, who has the ball? Paige Buckets, I call her. Forget about Becker. I call her Buckets. And what she does every single time she delivers. I mean, she plays with no fear, with incredible confidence and poise. She looks like a tremendous teammate. But I've got to believe when I'm hearing Gino Auriemma who's coached all the best, say that she could be one of the best or not the best in the history of this storied program, can't argue with Gino.
Yeah, you mentioned their first Husky ever with 3 straight 30-point games. First player in Big East history to win league's player and freshman of the week in the same week multiple times and scored 181 points in her first 10 games, the most a UConn freshman has ever done. That's she good.
Paige Bueckers. I love that. I'm going to call her that, too. All right, let's go to Alabama because Alabama football is usually in the headlines. They won a national championship this season. Let's talk about Alabama basketball, though. Are they likely to become just the second school to win a D1 football and basketball title in the same academic year? I feel like this is
surely they can. I mean, don't at me. I really don't mean it, but I'm going to create a case that they can. First of all, Nate Oates, you got to understand now, a couple years back, he was a math teacher at Romulus High School. A math teacher. And in math, he understands numbers. So 3 is greater than 2. What does that mean? Well, here's the deal. They shoot 45% of their shots from the three-point line. That's 33s a game. All right, they spread you out with the three-point shot. The ability they play at a ridiculous pace. They get a shot up every 14 seconds. So what does Nate Oates do? He basically changes the identity of the game. If they can impose their identity of the game on you, and they do it in the NCAA tournament, they could win a national championship. They got big-time shot makers. John Petty is an elite jump shooter, and he has the ability to get out, transition, knock down threes. And Herbert Jones is a matchup nightmare at 6'9". Reminds me a little bit of Stacey Augmon back in the UNLV days. He can shoot the three, he can drive it. He's an elite defender. They play with tremendous pace, great confidence, and they play with a little swag to them. And what I mean by that is they really do believe that they're better than you, and they have the ability to get back and the resiliency to get through those tough times. So could they win a national championship? Now, what was that quarterback's name? Mac Jones? Is that
Mac Jones,
yeah.
I think they should suit up Mac because, like, the one thing about Mac is he always threw it to the right team. So as long as they throw it to the right team and don't turn it over, there's a chance. Perfect. Because that's this game. See, we're playing this game here. So we're playing a little game. Create a scenario where a team can. You've got to understand, of all the things I just talked about, every one of those scenarios, I can also create a scenario where they can't. That's called spinning in the same direction. So you don't know which side I'm on.
You are watching.
They changed these questions and said, give me a scenario where they can't. You know what? The old bald-headed coach, the old blood, the old whatever. All right?
Man.
He could do the same thing.
Coach is hedging his bet hard here. All right, let's give a little mid-major love. Is there a mid-major team out there you think could make a run to the Final Four, Coach?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, mid-major team, there's only one mid-major team when you think about it. You got to go with Sister Jean and Loyola Chicago. I mean, Cameron Krautwig, he's still in school. He's the Nikola Jokic of college basketball. At 6'7", he's handling the ball, dropping dimes, shooting it from the elbow. They don't turn the basketball. There's my girl, Sister Jean. I mean, when you got Sister Jean on your side, how can you not make the Final Four? In fact, last week we did a hit with Sister Jean. It got more attention than anything we did on the whole show. Sister Jean is hosting the show this week. Reese Davis is out. But, yeah, this Loyola team, they don't turn it over. They don't give you second shots. They're terrific defensively. They keep you in front. They contest a shot. They don't get split. They have a number of different guys on any given night that can knock down a jumper. Krautwig is a matchup problem. And Morris, the point guard, is tough as nails. So, yeah, I look at this team, and this is a team, because they don't beat themselves, they're kind of a mid-major version of Virginia. If they can own the tempo of the game, then they can win any game they play in. They don't give you easy baskets. They don't turn it over. They don't give you transition baskets, and they don't give you second shots. So that's a great formula to make it deep into the tournament. So, Sister Jean, I've got a scarf. They actually were giving out scarves the year that they were in the Final Four. I have the old Loyola scarf. I haven't worn it in public, got to be honest. All right? But if you get back to the Final Four, Sister Jean, I'm going all scarf.
If Sister Jean can take out Reese, they can take out anybody. Coach, we appreciate you. Check him out today, obviously, on Game Day. Seth Greenberg, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, if you guys want to be a part of College Game Day, yes, you do. All you got to do is go to collegegameday.com to enter for a chance to virtually join Reese, Jay LaFonso, and Seth this season on College Game Day. I promise you, it is as much fun as it sounds like. Go out and do it.
Reaves, the guard that can do a little bit of everything.
Reaves, left side, got it. And that's what you call a chess match.
And then, oh my goodness. Look at Reaves.
That shot went over the backboard.
Wow.
Oh,
Austin Reaves is coming downhill. You have got to stop the ball when he's coming because he is looking to score and make plays.
Reaves. That possession was all Austin Reaves.
Oh, yeah, that guy's a bucket, and he's here with us right now. Oklahoma guard Austin Reaves joining us. Austin, you guys have a big game tonight, Oklahoma playing Oklahoma State. Of course, that's your rival. But I want to talk about you for a second, okay? Austin, you are leading in points per game, assists per game, rebounds per game, and specifically in points per game. That's a slight improvement from last season. So I want to ask, what was the biggest shift for you going into this season?
Really just taking what the defense gives me and really just having the trust in the coaches and everybody else. I feel like last year I felt like I was trying to do too much and really just forcing stuff up. So now this year I really kind of just take what the defense gives me and then rely on what the coaches teach me.
All right, well, Austin, we know it's been a weird year, COVID-19 impacting everybody because of protocols. You missed a couple of games. You watched your boys beat Alabama but then lose to Texas Tech. What's that like for you? You're sitting in your dorm room. What's your watching experience when you're watching the guys?
It was horrible. I don't think I sat down the whole game. I was pacing around the room, yelling. If anybody was asleep in the apartment complex, I probably woke them up during the Alabama and Texas Tech game, honestly. But just really proud of the way the guys competed and played, honestly.
All right, so last year you dropped 41 points, including the game winner with a half second left in what turned out to be your team's final game of the season because like COVID affected both this season and last season. First of all, you guys don't have fans in the stands this year, so do you remember what that was like in that moment, and how has that changed this season?
Like you said, it's a different year with COVID and everything. You don't have as many fans. We've been lucky to have, I think, 25% of the fans. But definitely that's a game that I remember being the last game of the year. It was real sad when COVID hit and the tournament got canceled. But it was just a really good feeling and just something that I'll always remember.
All right, Austin, let's get down to the nitty-gritty here. Before the show, Christine was listening to High School Musical to get pumped up. Now, you were talking about you got 25% of the fans. So, like, what's changed in your pregame ritual to help you get that, like, adrenaline coming in?
I think it's really been honestly the same. Listen to a little bit of music and really just talk with the guys on the team about what we're going to do to be successful.
What are you listening to before the game?
Just rap, honestly, Lil Baby, Gunna, just stuff like that.
The good stuff, the hitters. I thought you were going to ask about his flow because we were talking about High School Musical and Zac Efron had the whole thing going. I do want to ask you this, though.
One man doesn't usually ask another man about his flow on a first meeting. We wait till the second or third.
Not the person with no hair. That's fair about the hair flow. So I want to ask you this. Okay, Oklahoma 4th in the Big 12 this season, but you guys are 7th in the AP poll and obviously have been getting a little bit of love. Do you feel like Oklahoma has been getting the respect that they deserve this season?
I believe so. I feel like we're a team that really got overlooked last year, honestly. And at the end of the year, I felt like we come together and was playing some really good basketball. And then now this year, we've kind of put it together. I mean, we had a slip up against Kansas State, but we're looking to get back on track today against Oklahoma State.
All right, you mentioned Oklahoma State coming into that sort of a game. What's on your mind? Like, what's the key for you guys to win this one?
Really just go out there and compete and take every possession like it's the last is the biggest thing. I feel like in the Kansas State, we gave away too many possessions. And so today is really just compete every possession and get the best of every possession.
Well, you'll have to see it. Of course, this is your rival, so good luck today in the game at 3 p.m. on ABC. Thanks so much for joining us.
Maybe mix a little High School Musical into the...
I mean, he lost the flow, so I mean, I feel like
I might try.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank y'all.
Want more college basketball and other sports takes and interviews? Of course you do. Watch Sports Nation with our friends Trevor Scales, Ashley Brewer, and Taylor Twellman. And also, of course, everybody loves this guy, Stephen A's World with the man himself, Stephen A. Smith, both streaming daily, weekdays, exclusively on ESPN+.
All right, let's welcome in. We need more analysis help
of course.
and more help for trying to figure out High School Musical. But either way, let's welcome in one of our new analysts to the show. We haven't had the chance to hang out with him yet. Luke Hancock joining us for the first time on this show. Also, as they point out, a fitting last name, as Luke is also a financial advisor, which means, by the way, while he's breaking down the college basketball, he can also turn around and break down your portfolio, which is going to be key. We'll get to that in a second. Let's start with the most important thing. Luke, you played at Louisville. And, there's sometimes a misunderstanding on how to say the city. So go ahead, tell the world, correct everybody that says it one way on how they should say it.
Well, it's definitely not Louisville. It's you got to make sure you have it like there's peanut butter in your mouth or you got a bunch of marbles in there or something like that. You just do it fast, So I know you guys know about pronouncing tough names, but it's just Louisville. And if you say it quick, nobody knows the difference.
Louisville. Yeah, that's, I lived in Nashville for a long time. You learn that quickly. Speaking of Louisville, let's give a little love to the Wendy's Wooden Watch, and we're going to give that love to Louisville's Carlik Jones. So, obviously, you're familiar with him. What do you see here that you like from his game?
Well, there is a lot to like with Mr. Carlik Jones. And early on this season, I'm talking to Dino Gaudio and Chris Mack about this guy, and they're comparing him to some ACC legends, Jeff Teague and Chris Paul. And I don't know if I believe that. Coming from the Big South, from Radford as Player of the Year in that conference, it's obviously a big step up coming to the ACC. But Carlik is tough as nails, can do a little bit of everything, is averaging great numbers, third in the conference in points, fourth in assists, a great assist-to-turnover ratio. And I think he's one of the best guards in the country with the ball in his hands. When he gets downhill coming off of pick and rolls, he's elite with a little floater game, some of those runners off 1 foot. And then he can shoot the basketball. He's great in the big moments in the clutch down the stretch. Again, Carlik Jones does a little bit of everything, and you see the impact he has. If you go back and look at that Wisconsin game, I know you don't go into the Kohl Center and win games very often, but Louisville was totally off kilter for that game without Carlik Jones. He's been impactful every night, and double figures every night. The dude's been consistent.
Well, he's been able to give us a lot of great plays, which gets us to surprisingly great plays brought to you by State Farm. We'll take a look at some different plays here, get some reaction to it. Starts with the Mastodons. Purdue-Fort Wayne against Green Bay. Horizon League tournament round action. The Mastodons down 3 seconds to go. Pipkins heaves it up for the tie. Look at that. It's up. It's good. All right, sends it to double overtime. Not bad at all.
All right, here's how to cover up your mistakes. Go Miami, go Canes. Florida State, Miami, Raekwon Gray with a very average pass and turnover that sends Miami on a fast break, but oh.
No.
Oh, no.
Not up in here.
That TikTok.
Big fella.
I mean, how do you walk that one back, Luke? I don't know. Like, when that happens to you, it just feels like you just walk away.
You got to go read the scouting report against Big Raekwon Gray. This guy can do it all. Obviously, 260 pounds. He's got bounce, too. Come on, Isaiah Wong.
Oof, that's embarrassing.
Oh.
That's so embarrassing.
Hurts the heart. All right, let's take a look at the next one here.
The walk off. Nothing happens. Just walk it off.
I like the head shake, too.
Yeah, I'm just saying, if I ever blocked anybody like that, they'd never hear the end of it for the rest of my life. Hook and ladder here. We usually see that in football, but no! It worked here. He didn't need the mag for this one, Luke. Did you guys drop a lot of crazy plays like that for the end of games?
This was the best part of practice when you get to do all these kind of funky plays into the game, all the situational stuff. The great teams practices, they're obviously ready to go. It looked like the greatest game of all time right there.
All right, so we're going to do a little thing called Countdown to Game Day Top Shots. I don't know if you guys know anything about NBA Top Shots. If you don't, then you haven't been paying attention. Basically, people buy and sell highlights for up to 6 figures. There was a guy on our Hoop Stream show that bought a highlight for $208,000. So we're going to look at some of the best highlights of this week. It's actually ridiculous. I mean, I could never do that.
How much money you have to have in the bank to spend that much?
Actually, I looked it up, and he split it with 7 friends. But still, that's a lot of money to buy a highlight. However, we're going to look at some of our favorite moments in college basketball from the past week. And like Fitz said, Luke, you're a financial advisor. So we're going to ask you what you would buy these highlights for if it was a top shot. OK, so let's start with number 1, Gonzaga's Aaron Cook. He gets the steal. Oh, here we are. He gets the steal, times his run up, and then flushes it on poor Ben Pyle's head. Oh, my goodness. Incredibly embarrassing. I feel like these go for even more, no?
I mean, this has got to be a staple to a portfolio. If we're talking investing, you go with the best team in the country in Gonzaga. They're also maybe the deepest team in the country. And is he waiting on him to go flush that, telling him to come get you some of this? I don't know if it's quite 215,000 like Big LeBron, but this is a staple right here. I'm going to go ahead and throw 50,000 out there. I mean, I know it's a big number, but Gonzaga's the best team in the country. You got to go with your blue chips.
I love pointing out that he slowed down at the end just to make sure that they got there. All right, let's take a look at the next one. We'll get a little Washington State love coming in here. Washington State coach Kyle Smith thought his team forced a 5-second violation on the inbounds, but nope. And he was not pleased with it. But look at the double slams. I mean, a coach highlight's got to have a little bit of extra equity on it, right?
Yeah, I don't know if this is one he's going to want to invest in. This might be one you try and get rid of. This might be a loser here, guys. He's not going to be happy watching this clip after this one.
I feel like this one is probably, I mean, anybody that's angry, especially he broke his mask. I know you saw that. I feel like that's a kind of
maybe that's what he was angry about. Like the mask broke and then he was frustrated by it. So the double fist slam makes more sense.
Exactly. All right, let's go to UNCG junior forward Mohammed Abdul Salam. He gets the steal, finishes with a monster slam. I don't know. I've been doing voices this week. It's really weird. Over Western Carolina, Luke, how are you feeling like this one should be ranked?
Paid for.
Paid for.
We'll say that, yeah.
Well, the reason why I love this, check out that energy on the bench. You know you're throwing it down. All those guys are ready. They've seen practice too many times. They watch the scouting report. When you get that kind of reaction from the bench, they know it's coming. Big Boy's about to bring the goal down. I'm gonna go with 20,000. It's not Gonzaga out there, but the play is fantastic.
I feel like when the bench goes wild, that gives them a little bit more worth. But I feel like because there's nobody in the stands, it kind of takes down the value a little bit because you can't see the fans get hyped. So that makes sense.
I don't know. There's something about hearing a bunch of other players jump up and down and yell like that that's still going to feel like if you're on the wrong end of that particularly, I'm just saying. All right, let's go to the next highlight, and this belongs in the portfolio if I can actually get through this name properly. DePaul sub Pantelis Exedius. Woo!
All the good names.
Look at this coming in. Oh, man. Look at those moves. Swiggity swoogie. He's coming for that booty. Look at that. Oh, with the glasses and everything. I mean, I'm all in on this. Luke, what are these dance moves worth? I need to know for personal reasons at this point.
Clip of the day. I wish I had some of those dance moves. And this is the ultimate right here. You need the cheerleader on the bench that's going to get your guys fired up. Christine, you said it. No fans in the stands. You need somebody like this to bring the energy. I'm all in on this one.
I just found my role on the next rec league team for this for ESPN.
There you go.
I don't know if I would pay anything for this, but I am very impressed that he is comfortable enough with himself to just pull out those moves.
I'm just saying, Luke, if you saw those moves from a teammate, you feeding him the ball next time he's on the court, or has he just proven he doesn't get to touch the ball anymore?
I'm hoping he stays over there on the bench if you're going that crazy, but at the same time, you're firing the team up. Everybody's got to play their role. I mean, come on, he's getting the guys fired up. I love it, man.
Look at that.
I mean, I feel like he gets an A for effort.
Yeah,
All right. Okay, let's go on.
I like that.
To Fresno State. Dion Shroud with the steal breakaway, and he decided to put on the 360 dunk. Like, that's embarrassing. That has to be worth a little bit more.
Absolutely. And I mean, he's like paused for the photo in the air. This is one that's going to make your bedroom wall. This is one of those big time posters. I'm all in. Maybe it's because I couldn't do stuff like this, but I'm all in on this one. With the flush, too. I mean, there's no rattling around the rim. That's sending it home right there.
I've been waiting all year to get a UNLV highlight in there. As the kid from Vegas, we finally get one, and it's UNLV getting dunked on. Like, we're going to have a production meeting this week. I'm just saying.
That's what happens.
All right.
That's what happens.
We got a bonus play. This is a bonus play. Let's see what value we would put on this. What is this? What is this? This is one Luke Hancock. Oh, look at this about to happen. Stadium full in the Carrier Dome against Syracuse. Shots up. Shots good. What's it worth, Luke?
That's all the money you got. That's your big blue chip right there. Rusticulous with the kick out. I'll tell you, the funny part about that clip, a play before, coach says, whatever you do, you cannot let this guy get this three on the left side. I check into the game, the very first play, I'm talking 10 seconds into the game, he bangs a three on my side. So we came down the next possession, and I was like, well, if this goes in, I'm staying in the game. If I miss this, I may never play again for Rick Pitino, but doesn't it make you miss the fans? There were about 60,000 in the Carrier Dome for that one.
Man, Luke, that's solid work. 60,000 screaming fans, rightfully so. Empty your portfolio for that one. Man, we appreciate you hanging out with us. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for bringing the fire.
Thank you guys very much. A lot of fun. We'll do it again.
Absolutely. Good stuff from Luke. And we've got a huge slate of games, again, coming up today. You don't want to miss any of it. There's the College Game Day set for you right there. They're going to get into a bunch. Is Michigan the best team in college basketball? They're going to talk a little bit about the impact for Leonard Hamilton. And, of course, Ayo Dosunmu. You know what?
Ayo Dosunmu.
Thank you.
That's not even his first name. You guys should look up his real name. I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, you should. It is quality.
It's really hard to say. So Ayo's a little bit easier.
All right. Stick around right here. Check out Game Day. Watch all the college basketball action you could possibly handle all day in the app. She's Christine Williamson. I'm Jason Fitz. We appreciate you so much for joining us. Thanks for hanging out for Countdown to Game Day, covered by State Farm.